Hey guys, in this video I want to demo to you the Filament Form Builder. So Filament is an admin package built for the tall stack, and I've just been having a lot of fun learning about Filament and thought that I would create a video teaching you how to use the form builder to easily create a form in your Laravel app. So if we go to the documentation, we can go over here to the left, and this is where you will install the admin panel. And even if you have no desire to use the admin panel, but you use the tall stack, you may be interested in the form builder. Let's go ahead and just create a new Laravel application, and then I will show you how to install the form builder. Okay, and then I can cd into that folder. Wrong folder. Okay, so let's open this up in our default code editor, which in my case is VS Code. Sure thing. Resources, views. Welcome, just a default Laravel application, nothing too special. So we can actually visit FilamentForms.test, and we should see our Laravel application right here in front of us. Before we install the Filament Form Builder, we actually want to install the tall stack preset. So let's go ahead and search for tall stack preset. And I should see the first result here is the front end preset. So I am going to install this. If I scroll down, we have two options. We can install it without authentication or with authentication. And we don't need authentication in this application, so I'm just going to go ahead and copy this and pop that right there. Okay, so now let's go ahead and reload our application, and you can see that we have the tall stack preset here in front of us. To show you more proof of that, we can go ahead and open up our default layout file, and that is inside of resources views. Layouts, and actually that should be the base.blade. So we can see now here that we have the Livewire styles and the Livewire scripts. So just like that, we have a full tall stack. So we have Tailwind installed, Alpine.js, Laravel, which is the framework that we're using, and Livewire. So now we can go ahead and create a Livewire component. So let me go ahead and open up the terminal, and I'm going to open a new tab here, and I want to create a new Livewire component called posts. So I will say PHP artisan make Livewire posts. And now we'll see inside of our resources views, Livewire, we have a post view, and then inside of our app HTTP Livewire posts.php, we have our Livewire component controller. So now that we have the tall stack ready and we have a post component, let's go ahead and install the Filament Forms package. So jumping back over to the docs, we can scroll down here and we can just include it by saying composer require filament forms. Okay, next it's asking us if this is a new project or an existing project. So I can go ahead and just copy this right here, and I'm going to paste this in because we are installing this in a new project. Okay, so after we've done that, let's go ahead and go back to our application, and we get undefined variable slot. And I wonder if this is actually being caused because I need to restart. Restart the asset watcher. npm run dev. Yeah, I think that did it. Okay, so now we are ready to use the form builder. And you can also see if you have an existing Laravel application, you'll need to run through these steps. And what I've noticed is if we're not installing this with the admin panel, then we will actually need to run through a few steps. And I'll show you that here in just a second. So in the docs, when you see that we have this, you're now ready to start building forms. So this will take you to the building forms, getting started. Now, if we want to add a form to our component, there's a few things that we need to do. So we need to make sure that our component extends, or actually that it implements this has forms. So let's go ahead and copy this up and bring this into our posts. And we'll just add it right there. And we will also add this trait. So let's save that. Let's go back here. And there's one more thing that we need to do is we need to add use filament forms here at the top. So now let's save that. Let's just go ahead and test things out. Let's reload. Nothing's going to happen because we actually haven't linked up the route yet. So let's create a new route. So I'll go to routes web.php, and I'm going to say route get, and we're just going to get the post route. And I'm going to say posts class, and then I need to add the namespace. I think this is just going to be, app HTTP Livewire posts. And I guess technically this should be at the top because this should be in alphabetical order. So let's save that. Let's go to our posts route and we just get a blank white page. Let's see how we can display our form from the form builder. We've already added it to our component. Now we need to add it to our view. Go ahead and just copy and paste this example inside of our posts.blade.php. Okay, so now let's go back here and reload. And we're just going to get the submit button because we actually haven't generated this form. So let's see how we can add some forms or text inputs to our form. Let's go down here and we can see this new protected function called getFormSchema. So whenever you implement the forms contract has forms, you just have this protected function available for you to fill in this array with the form fields that you want to add to your form. Let's go ahead and copy this. And we'll paste it right there. So you can see in this example, they have the title and the content, and I'm going to add a few more. I'm going to say that our post has a title, then say it has a body, the URL slug, and also an image. So now we need to add those text inputs, but for now, let's just keep the title, and then we will change this content to be body. And let's go ahead and go back to our application and reload. And you can see now that we actually have this form right here in front of us. But it looks kind of ugly because there are a few things that we need to add. So by default, the Filament package uses Tailwind CSS just-in-time compilation. So we need to add a few things to the watcher. So let me show you what's happening here. If we go to the Tailwind config.js, our watcher is looking through all of these files and basically applying the classes that need to be applied. But the file that we're working with has actually not been added to this. So we can do that by going back to the documentation, and I think this is the installation section. So we'll go installation, I think existing Laravel applications, and you can see here that we have the content that we need to include. So we need to include these files. So we'll save that, go back here and add that right there. Okay, so there's a few more things that I'm just going to add because I know these need to be added. Actually, it may even say it in the documentation, but we need to add these colors or extend from these colors. Okay, and then we also need to include the require colors up here at the top. Okay, so let's go back to our application. Let's reload and huzzah, we have some nicer looking styles. However, it looks kind of weird because it's full screen, so let's change that. Let's go to the post.blade.php. And I want this main container to have a full screen, so W screen and H screen. And I want it to be flex, and I want everything to be centered. So item center, justify, center. And then I probably want to have a max width for this container, so I still don't want it to be full width, so I'm going to say max width of, we'll say the large size. We want to have margin left and margin right of auto, so that way that centers. Okay, so let's go back here, reload, and now it is actually centered. We may actually want to add some padding here. Let's go ahead and add a P10. We'll add a border, say gray of 200, and we'll make this rounded LG. And now that looks a little bit better. And you can see here that now we have our title and our body. So check this out. If we go back to the post, and we take off the body right there, reload, now we just get the title. So it's pretty cool because we can create these new field inputs just by adding them to this array, and we can match it to a specific variable that we can then use to store in the database. So let's go ahead and add a few more. So for the slug, we also want that to be, this is type forms components text input. So this is a text input. And Filament has all of these different types of fields that you can add, that you can say, I want this to be a type of text. I want it to be a text area, a rich text area. You can also specify images and uploads. Just super cool with all the stuff that you can do out of the box. Let's go ahead and go back to the documentation. And if we scroll down here, we're going to see fields. And this is where we can see all the different fields that we can add to our form. So we can add a text input, select, checkbox, toggle, and all of these awesome inputs. So let's go ahead and check out the file upload. So if we go here, we see that we have file make attachment, so we could upload things like PDFs and different files. But for our case, we want to upload an image. And you'll see we have this file make image. Simple enough, we can copy that and bring this right over here. And of course, if you have a different variable, our variable is named image, so we'll just keep that right there. But let's save this and let's take a look. Okay, and we get app HTTP, Livewire, file upload, not found. And we need to include the namespaces, file upload. So let's add this to our post controller. And let's go back, and now we have our form. And you can see that the image upload actually doesn't look like how it does in the example. You can see that it has this nice kind of drag and drop interface, and it actually uses a JavaScript library called FilePond, which makes the user experience so much better for uploading images and different kinds of files. And the reason why ours does not look like this is because we also need to add some code to our JavaScript file. We need to add a few things to our JavaScript file. So if we scroll down here, I think here's the form. So configuring scripts. So we have this Forms Alpine plugin that we need to add to our app.js. So let's open up the app.js, and we can remove this bootstrap. And then right here, we're going to include the forms JavaScript. And we also need to say Alpine plugin, load the Forms Alpine plugin. Okay, let's save that. Let's go back here. If we reload, now we're actually seeing that drag and drop right here, but we're not seeing the styles updated. And I believe there's one more piece that we need to update in here. Yeah, and it should be this right here. So we're going to import the form styles. So let's do that by opening up the app.scss, and we'll add this to the top. So let me save that, go back here and reload, and now you can see that that's stylized quite a bit better. So we haven't styled our submit button, so how about we do that real quick, just that way the form looks semi-complete. So we'll say class equals full. We want this to have a background of blue, 500, white text, rounded MD. I don't know if we have a margin top, but we'll do margin top of 2. And what else do we need? Let's go ahead and check that out. Okay, we need some padding Y, so we'll say PY 3. And that looks better. Okay, maybe a margin top of 3 and PY of 2.5. Yeah, that looks quite a bit better. Okay, so now check this out. We can actually add our title here, so my rad title. We can add our blog post, add a bunch of content here, upload images, etc. And then we add our slug, so my rad title. Okay, and I'm going to browse for an image, and I have a mountain image right here. I'm going to open that, and you can see that this is automatically uploading. So then what we can do is we can actually click on submit. It's going to give us an error that we do not have a submit method, and that's because we need to add that method to our post.php. So we'll say public function submit, and let's go ahead and just die and dump the title. So let's go ahead and save that. If we come back here, and you'll notice that actually the page got reloaded. I guess what we could do is actually do npm run. Is that production? I think npm run. Okay, come on, buddy. What is this? Package.json. npm run build. And it should build that. So now whenever we make a change to the posts, it's not going to auto reload. We could add something here. And yeah, there's not going to be any reload. And this makes it easy for you being able to click on submit and then debugging your form. So let's go ahead and die and dump the title after we click on the submit. So let's say my cool title, and we click on submit. And now we get the title right here. So then if we were to upload the image, we could get the image URL, the body, and you can see what you can do here inside of the submit function is save all this to a post table. And you can see that we're able to start cranking out these forms like a madman. So pretty cool that we can do this in such a short amount of time. Shout out to the Filament guys, you're doing a great job. I will definitely be adding this to a lot of my projects in the future. So I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you learned something from this video, and I will talk to you in the next video.